Drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.
Hello students, welcome to atptable.com, your online gateway to the world of invaluable knowledge. During the last discussion, we were trying to understand the concept of capital recovery, amortization schedule with the help of a illustration, with the help of a numerical, wherein we saw that when Mr. Sanders had to repay a loan of 10,000 USD carrying an interest rate of 9% for a tenure of 3 years, and by calculating the annuity we arrived at the figure of $3,951, which Mr. Sanders was required to pay at the end of every year for the next 3 years. And through an amortization schedule we tried to understand that how exactly with each payment of the annuity the balance of the principal, or the outstanding balance of the principal, gets diminishing. At the same time the interest amount comes down to till the time we reach at the point that by the payment of the last or the penultimate installment we find that the entire outstanding balance of the principal has been paid and the outstanding balance of interest has been paid as well, thereby leaving a zero balance as a liability for Mr. Sanders, which indicates that the entire loan amount has been repaid, the entire principal along with the interest has been repaid. And the best part was that we understood the fact that with the help of amortization and capital recovery, Mr. Sanders didn't pay the loan in a one lump sum. Rather, he fragmented the loan in equal periodical systematic installments, or in annuities. And the annuities got so designed that with each annuity some portion of the principal as well as the interest kept on getting repaid, and finally a time came when the entire loan was off the shoulders of Mr. Sanders. So the biggest benefit which we can arrive at from this discussion is that with the help of amortization, with the help of capital recovery, or to be precise with the help of such annuity repayments, the entire burden of the loan gets evenly distributed across the tenure of the loan, which doesn't create much of a financial burden either on the borrower or even from the lender's point of view. Each annuity is assuring him the recovery of his capital in the form of the recovery of the principal as well as that of the interest. So students, let's try to take up another illustration which shall bolster the concept in your mind, which shall make the concept absolutely well, it will be much easier for you to understand. The concept will be more robust for you. So the next illustration says that there is one Mrs. Morrison who is contemplating taking a loan of 50,000 USD to buy a flat. She is required to mortgage the flat and pay annual installments for 25 years at the rate of 4% rate of interest. Calculate the amount of the year-end equal installments Mrs. Morrison is required to pay. The question is almost identical to what we discussed right now. The only difference being the amount of the loan is bigger, is more substantial than what we dealt in the case of Mr. Sanders. In the case of Mrs. Morrison, the amount of the loan is 50,000 USD, which she is taking because she wants to buy a house property, and that particular house property has been mortgaged with the loan provider, and the tenure of the loan is for 25 years. In the case of Mr. Sanders, the loan was only for 3 years, but in this particular case the loan ranges around 25 years and it carries an interest rate of 4%. And just akin to the last illustration, Mrs. Morrison is also required to convert the entire loan into annuity amounts, into annuity installments, and then start repaying instead of paying the loan in a single lump sum manner. Therefore, in this question also we are required to calculate the amount of the annuity which shall ensure a systematic repayment of the principal as well as the interest thereupon. So far the variables are concerned, we know that the present value of the loan or the loan which has been taken up in the current year stands at 50,000 USD, and the tenure is that of 25 years, and the interest rate is 4%. So applying the formula, we already seen that we need to solve for the A in the entire formula. So by solving for A, we are in a position to calculate the capital recovery factor. If you may recollect, that capital recovery factor was solving for this term, that is I into 1 plus I to the power of n upon 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1 whole encased within the curly brackets. Solving for this particular term within the curly brackets gives us the capital recovery factor. So by putting the respective variables at the respective places, we arrive at the capital recovery factor of 3,200 USD. It is a simple solution you can undertake by yourself only. Upon calculating, you shall find that the amount of the annuity is coming up to 3,200 USD. So 3,200 USD is the amount of the annuity which Mrs. Morrison is required to pay every year for the next 25 years, which shall ensure that the entire loan amount of 25,000 for the time frame of 25 years carrying an interest rate of 4% has been systematically repaid by the way of annuity payments. Now, one thing, students, I would like to strongly request you that since the number of years in the question is too large, it is 25 years, so it shall be a futile exercise if we try to work out the amortization schedule. But as a student, it is very, very quintessential for you if you may take out some time out of your schedule and try to draw or try to construct an amortization schedule all by yourself. It will just take a few minutes of yours, but the effort is worth the pain. So once you make out the amortization schedule all by yourself, by the time you calculate or make the entire structured amortization schedule, you shall be in a position to understand it better, that how exactly each and every annuity payment is systematically repaying rather some portion of the principal as well as that of the interest, and how the balance amount of the principal is being calculated, and how the fresh interest is being calculated on the outstanding balance, till you reach the penultimate 25th year, wherein you find that the interest amount as well as the principal amount which is being encased within the annuity amount, that is taking care of the repayment of the last installment of the loan, thereby leaving a nil balance. So it will take some amount of your time, but if you undertake this rigor, you will find quite confident, because you will understand that how exactly an amortization schedule is actually reducing the balance, the outstanding balance of the principal, outstanding balance of the interest, and with each and every successive annuity payments, you are finding that the burden of the principal as well as the interest is getting on diminished in a systematic manner, and this shall help you understand this concept in a much proper fashion, and that shall stay with you for the rest of your life. So I would urge you once again, students, that please try to draw the amortization schedule all by yourself. In case you need a hint, you can refer to the amortization schedule which we drew in the case of Mr. Sanders. The method is the same, the process is the same, the only difference being that in the case of Mr. Sanders, the amortization schedule ran for only 3 years, while in case of Mrs. Morrison, it shall go up to 25 years. I hope this brief discussion is clear to you, students. That's it for now, students. Thank you, students. Happy learning.